Hey guys, and welcome back. After 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, one of the most confusing things to me was where Sansa Stark ended her series arc as. As you guys all know by now, after 8 seasons of being buffeted around, being a plaything for Joffrey Baratheon, then Littlefinger, and then Ramsay Bolton, Sansa finally finishes the series as being crowned Queen in the North. But this never actually felt right for me. Because would the Northmen actually accept Sansa as their queen? And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode of Constant Review. So, just to start out, I need to say that I like Sansa Stark. She has a very compelling character journey throughout the first couple seasons, where she goes from being a completely unlikable character that is the least like any of the Stark children as possible, but then goes through several layers of torment after being used and abused by Joffrey, Littlefinger, and finally Ramsay Bolton. Finally, Sansa has to come into her own and actually learn how to think for herself, make smart decisions, and eventually becomes a very compelling character in Game of Thrones. But what I want to actually look at is whether the men of the North, Sansa's kingdom, would actually crown her queen and follow her. The first problem with Sansa being crowned queen is that at the time that she is crowned, their previously anointed king, Jon Snow, has not yet died. He's still out there, having been sent to the Night's Watch at the end of Game of Thrones. But why would the Kingdom of the North be alright with that? After all, at the end of the series, the North is its own sovereign kingdom, and they don't respect the rules and judgments of the Six Kingdoms that is now led by Bran Stark. So they wouldn't accept that Jon has been exiled, and they would just overturn that decision. More importantly, how would they even be able to get Jon Snow to the wall without passing through the North and passing through their own kingdom? But this is by far and large not the biggest issue with Sansa being queen. After all, we could assume that Jon probably wouldn't want to be king even if that was an option given to him. After all, Jon has told us plenty of times that he doesn't want it.
I don't want it. I never have.
What did I say would happen if you told your sister?
I don't want it, and that's what I told him. I told you I don't want it.
And that takes us to point number 2, the proper line of succession, that says that after Jon Snow passes on being king in the North, that title should go to the next in line, which would not be Sansa Stark, but be Brandon Stark. This, of course, causes a natural issue, because Brandon Stark first said that he did not want to be king and could no longer be lord of anything.
I can never be lord of anything. I'm the three-eyed raven.
But instead we found out at the series finale that Brandon Stark has now been named the King of the Six Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm. So, as the next in line in the line of succession, he would also be next in line to inherit the North and should therefore be the leader of that kingdom as well. In fact, what Sansa says about how the Northmen would never bow down to a Southerner again no longer has value, as the person leading in the South is a Northerner with the name of Stark, who, as I might point out, is one of the last people with the name of Stark, as Sansa's name would technically be Bolton at the time.
As far as I understand, you're a Snow, and Lady Sandra is a Bolton. Who's she a Lannister?
But let's say we can overlook these two facts. There's still a huge issue with Sansa being queen, and that's whether the Northmen would actually choose to follow a female. Like it or not, the North is a patriarchy, and throughout their entire existence have never held a queen as their leader. What we see throughout the series is that what the North respects the most in their leaders is strength. Going all the way back to season 1, we see that Robb Stark doesn't appear to be being respected by his liege lords until he demonstrates his strength in front of them.
And when I am done with the Lannisters, I will march back north, root you out of your keep, and hang you for an oathbreaker.
Oathbreaker, is it? I'll not sit here and swallow insults from a boy so green he pisses grass.
Similarly, the reason why Jon Snow is able to arise to power is he shows off his ferocity and strength both in battle and in leadership. But Sansa doesn't demonstrate this quality at all. She is the only one of these Stark children who has no training in combat. And most notably, in the Battle of Winterfell, Sansa hid in the crypts with the women and children, while other female leaders like Daenerys Targaryen, Brienne of Tarth, and Lyanna Mormont, a 10-year-old female, fought in the battle themselves. And when the crypt fell under attack due to, being a place where the undead are, did Sansa help defend the innocent women and children who were in the crypt? No, instead she chose to hide, holding one of the only weapons down there for safety, and letting the undead whites ravage through the innocent women and children that lived down there. Now, I'm not saying that Sansa would have the ability to fight the whites down there if she chose to, nor is it that a good quality in leadership is the ability to fight and win battles. But my point is that that is something that the Northmen aggressively believe and would have trouble following behind any leader that didn't exhibit those qualities. But at least we can say is that Sansa is smart, right?
She's much smarter than she lets on. She's starting to let on.
More than everyone.
She's the smartest person I've ever met.
And unfortunately, I'm not sure if I can really get behind Arya on that. I'm not sure if throughout the series we've ever actually seen Sansa doing anything that was highly intelligent or for the security of her people. Notably, at the beginning of Season 8, she seems to be trying to chase Daenerys away from the north, and though we eventually find out that Daenerys loses her mind and destroys King's Landing, at the time, we believe that the only chance the north has to survive the Night King's attack is with Daenerys' help. So trying to chase her away is most definitely not in the best interest of the people. And she has very rarely said anything that was smart before then.
Listen to me, please. He wants you to make a mistake.
Of course he does. What should I do differently?
I don't know. I don't know anything about battles. Just don't do what he wants you to do.
That's good advice.
You think that's obvious?
Well, it is a bit obvious.
If you had asked for my advice earlier, I would have told you not to attack Winterfell until we had a larger force.
I hate to have to agree with Jon Snow on this one, but yes, everything you're saying here is obvious. Obviously, if you have more men, you are more likely to win. But there are no more men. And Sansa goes on to winning the Battle of the Bastards that she claims credit for, despite the fact that the reason why Jon didn't know that the Knights of the Vale were willing to help them was because she withheld this information from him.
We're standing in Winterfell again because of me. You didn't win it back. Jon didn't win it back. He lost the Battle of the Bastards. The Knights of the Vale won the battle, and they rode north for me.
As we can see from the end of the Battle of the Bastards, it appears that 2/3 of Jon's army, that includes hundreds of Northerners, died in the Battle of the Bastards. And that only occurred because Jon was forced to go into this battle with less troops than he had available to him. Had Jon known that the Knights of the Vale were available to him, he might have been able to formulate a much better plan of attack and being able to take back Winterfell without losing so many people. In the end, it looks like Sansa claiming that she won the Battle of the Bastards might as well be her claiming that she is responsible for the number of deaths in the Battle of the Bastards. So, between poor leadership and poor fighting ability, I have a very hard time believing that the Northmen would ever be able to elect Sansa as their leader. But guys, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know how you feel about it and whether or not you think Sansa would have been a great queen. And I see you guys all in the next video. Bye.